Hello everyone, welcome to Hauntings and History, the show where we discuss hauntings and the histories behind them. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Coastal Road, Strandfontein. Here's a true ghost story my mom swears by. She's always had a strange sensitivity to things that others don't notice, because she was born with the veil, as the older generation calls it. She had a few experiences over the years, but one stands out and still give her chills to this day. It happened years ago. Late one Saturday night, she was driving home from a small party. Not drunk, but she'd had a couple of drinks and decided to take it slow. Around 2 a.m. she missed her usual turnoff and ended up on Baden-Powell Drive, eventually veering off into Lucannon Drive, the back road near the coast in Strandfontein. That stretch of road runs close to the dunes, and at night it's pitch dark, except for the occasional flicker of headlights. As she crept along the quiet road, she noticed a law enforcement van pulled off to the side near the dunes. At first, she thought nothing of it, but that it was strange that the van was facing the wrong way on the road since we drive on the left side of the road. Then she saw two men standing in the middle of the road, just ahead of the vehicle. They weren't moving, just standing there, side by side, like they were waiting for something. She slowed down, assuming that it must be a checkpoint or something, or some sort of a traffic stop, or that something bad had happened. As she passed them, the two men turned to look directly at her, their eyes locked with hers, completely expressionless. No nod, no reaction, just a dead, cold stare. It unsettled her so much, she quietly said, "Morning," and kept driving, hands gripping the wheel even tighter. Later that morning at church, she overheard two women talking in hushed tones. There had been a fatal car accident just a few hours earlier, on that same stretch of road, Lucannon Drive. A law enforcement van had veered off and had smashed into the dunes, and two officers inside didn't survive. My mom didn't say anything at all at first, but when she got home she turned on the news. The accident was real. The location, the time, it all lined up. And when the identities of the officers were released, she recognized them. They were the two men that she had passed on the road. She saw them just hours after they had already died. She's never driven that road again. Kroonstad, Free State. I've been a police officer for 8 years and currently hold the rank of sergeant. At the time, I was working the graveyard shift, a stretch of 3 night shifts following by a day shift, and this was my second night. I've always felt that the shift pattern messes up my sleep cycle, and I could never sleep properly after the first night. So by the time I reported for duty at 10 p.m, I was already exhausted. Still, I made myself a coffee, got into the squad car, and began my rounds. I was parked outside Westpark grocery store, right on the corner of Elf Adami Street and Erlang Street. It was a quiet night at first, until I got a call from dispatch. There'd been an accident on the R76 heading towards Viljoenskroon, about 10 kilometers outside of Kroonstad. Paramedics were already en route and were expected to arrive within 5 minutes. I got there in about 6 minutes. The scene was grim. A young man, maybe around 24, had been riding a motorcycle when he collided head-on with a VW Polo. The Polo's occupants, a woman and a young child, was shaken but unharmed. Unfortunately, the motorcyclist didn't survive. He was pronounced dead at the scene shortly after I arrived. Given the impact site and the position of his body, roughly 50 meters apart, it was clear that he'd been thrown a significant distance. I recovered his wallet, found his driver's license, and used the information to identify him. This was back in the days of old phone books, so I flipped through the yellow pages and managed to track down his family's landline. I didn't want them hearing the news from anyone else. I felt it was my duty to deliver it in person. It was just after 4 a.m. when I knocked on their front door. An older woman answered and immediately looked terrified when she saw me in uniform. I asked if we could have a sit down. In their small living room just inside the entrance, I gently broke the news. The mother gasped and buried her face in her husband's chest, sobbing. It was truly heartbreaking. Then something happened that shook me to my core. As I was still sitting there, trying to console the family, I heard the front door open and close. I turned just in time to see the young man that I had just seen dead only hours earlier walk calmly into the house and disappear into the hallway. No one else reacted. It was as if I was the only one who saw him. I don't know if I was exhausted or hallucinating. I've tried researching experiences like this, but I've never found a clear explanation. All I know is I saw what I saw. I didn't believe in ghosts before that night, but I do now. Relela Police Station, Tzaneen. I've been a police officer for nearly 10 years, and I've seen things most people would struggle to believe. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for what happened at our station in Relela last month. It started off slowly, the kind of thing you'd laugh off during the day. A strange draft blowing through a sealed hallway, lights flickering when there was no load shedding, but only ever at night, and only when the clouds rolled in. We always joked about the building being old, or maybe built on something it shouldn't have been. Everyone in town knew it had been constructed near some old graves, but we didn't think much of it. Cemeteries are everywhere in rural Limpopo. It's part of life here. The night it all came to a head, I was on duty with 2 officers. It had been raining earlier in the evening, and a heavy mist hung low over the road. We were inside, paperwork in hand, half watching the rain slide down the windows. It was dead quiet. It started with the wind. Out of nowhere, a gust ripped through the building like a tornado. Even though the doors and windows were shut, papers went flying, a chair tipped over, and the trees outside began thrashing like they were caught in a storm. But the sky hadn't changed. No thunder, no lightning, just that thick, wet mist. Then came the sounds, cries, but not human, not animals either. It was a mix of wailing and growling, like some twisted creature crying out in pain, and we all froze. I tried to convince myself it had just been the wind playing tricks on us, maybe some local dogs fighting in the distance, but the others were already backing away from the door. And then the lights went, one by one, from the far end of the corridor toward us. Click, click, click. Each light died with a snap until only one emergency floodlight near the front desk was left flickering like a dying candle. That's when we heard it. Footsteps. Massive footsteps. Not the kind a person makes. It sounded like something huge was walking just outside the building. Something heavy. Something deliberate. We ran to the windows. Nothing. Just mist. The security light outside was on, but it showed there was no one there. Still, the ground seemed to tremble with each step, like a passing herd of elephants, but slower, closer, angry. One of the guys, a seasoned cop, who's seen his fair share of horrors on the job, just looked at me and said, "I'm not staying here, Buffo." No one argued. We grabbed the keys, jumped into our patrol cars and drove. No direction in mind, just away from that crazy building. We drove around Relela for the rest of the night like ghosts ourselves. Headlights cutting through the mist, radio silent. Not one of us dared to say what we all had felt. I don't know what's in that building, and I don't care to find out. During the day, it's fine. Peaceful, even. But when the clouds roll in, or the rains come, something changes. It's like something wakes up. They say we're supposed to protect the community. But how do you fight what you can't see? How do you arrest a ghost? I haven't gone back for a night shift since. I'm not ashamed even. Some places don't want to be disturbed, and I've learned to listen when the dead start to whisper. That's all the stories I have for you today. If you have enjoyed them, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any personal encounters, please feel free to share your stories in the comment section. Until next time, see you!